Boom.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 93 of the Self-Publishing Roundtable, a podcast for indie authors by indie authors, where we discuss today's topics and issues that matter to the business of the self-published author. I am your moderator, Wade Finnegan, and my co-panelists, as always, for this evening are Michelle Reed. Say hello, Michelle. And Xavier Granville.
Hello, Internets.
Our special panelists, yes, plural panelists for this evening are CC Wall.
Hello.
Jamie Dodge.
Good evening.
And Chris Godso. We brought on... nice. Oh, Chris, I like it.
I'm keeping it classy.
Salute.
We brought on these three gentlemen tonight because we are going to discuss the idea of masterminding, putting mastermind groups together and that sort of thing. And all three of them belong to such a group, and they're going to share their expertise about that and help us kind of define what it is and why it is good, really good for the indie author community. It's something I've been turned on to recently, and it's really awesome. So hopefully we'll have a good, lively discussion about all that. And I'll let the three gentlemen introduce themselves here in just a second. Just remind everybody watching live, all our live viewers tonight, we encourage you to leave some questions, any comments you want for our panelists, or any questions you want us to tackle. We'll try to do our best to get them into the conversation. And, of course, at the end of the show, please leave us a review on iTunes, give us a social media share somewhere, and all that stuff. Anyway, without further ado, and Michelle's already accomplishing her feat. She's making CC laugh already, so that's good.
No, I got a tear over that one.
All right, so Cece, I'll start off with you. Could you give us a little introduction about what you write and what you do, please?
Yeah, I mainly write serials, detective mystery, pulp, zombie kind of stuff. I have 4 different titles right now in various stages, and I have some other things I do under different names, but this is kind of what I'm really enjoy doing.
Awesome. Chris, how about you?
I write science fiction. Most of the science fiction novel I have out right now that you can see over the shoulder is Predomain. It's a post-cyberpunk story set about 20 years in the future. So it's not far future. It's not a space opera. It's very much based around augmented/virtual reality. I also have a short story collection titled Covenus, and I'm working on the sequel to Predomain, which is set in a domain. The title of the series is the Domain series. Probably going to go about 4 or 5 books total. So I'm working on the second book in that series now, along with a bunch of other projects, which, like CC, are in various stages. So.
Excellent, excellent. And Jamie, how about you?
Well, I'm a science fiction writer. Right now I have one book out. It's The Forgotten Edge, and I'm also working on a science fiction dystopian book, which will hopefully be out the middle of next month. And there'll be a series of short stories that go along with that. And that's about it with me.
Well, sounds about it is about good. So all of you, 3 of you, thank you for being on tonight. We appreciate you guys taking the time out to come talk to us. I'll go ahead and start off the first question because it was actually posted before the show even started. It is by Robert Charles. He's wanted us to explain what a mastermind group is and how it relates to fiction writing. So, and I thought that was a really good start question because I think maybe all of us have a little bit of different definition. So, since you're on my left, CC, as the video goes, would you mind starting us off with that? What's your ideas about a mastermind group?
Yeah, I think a mastermind is just kind of like a really fancy word for a bunch of fuckers hanging out, writing together and figuring stuff out. You know, like it's you get together with some people who are doing the same kind of stuff you're doing, and it's just kind of like a support group almost to figure out better ways to do stuff, or things that are working for others that's not working for you, or so on and so forth, and just kind of a support system more than anything else.
Nice. I like that term, support group. It's Though we don't have a problem. That. We don't have a problem, right?
Well, that depends on who you ask.
Yeah. Chris, how about you? You got any insight on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said. I mean, it's kind of a collective, which is kind of funny because that's the name of our mastermind group. It's really support group's the best way to say it. Everybody kind of feeds off each other, and where you're sitting in the same genre usually, you know, it's not, you can learn how to do your genre better, basically is a coarse way for me to say it, but you can all kind of learn, this is the way to describe it, but we've just kind of recently started a new project with ours, so we're all kind of feeling it out. But if the ideas are, it's easy to not have to come up with everything yourself, to have other people in the group to kind of feed ideas, and then once they give you an idea, you can kind of build off that. So it's a lot easier than coming up with everything on yourself. I think I used the description in our group that you don't have to reinvent the world every time, like we often do in science fiction. You have other people to help you with some parts of that. So.
Cool. Now, Jamie, were you and if I was wrong on this, were you founder of the group, the collective?
No, I wasn't. Drew Avery was.
Okay.
The day he started it, he Facebooked me and said, "I put you in a group." I was like, "Okay." He's like that. I agree with what the two gentlemen said. It's a support, because I don't know about everybody else. I'm a fairly new writer, and it's hard, you know, to get yourself out there. So working within a group of people to try to learn from each other is what I like about what we're doing. And then there's you challenge each other. You know, somebody writes something that's really good, and you're like, I got to try to beat that, you know? So there's that aspect of it, too.
Good, yeah. Yeah, I like the challenge. Maybe I should get in a group with Xavier. I can take him on. I always want to beat those Canadians, so. they're always so dreamy.
They'll just let you. They'll be like, yeah, you go ahead.
I hope that just made you feel so good about yourself there, buddy.
Michelle, since I think we already had a question from the site from Mr. Sinclair. Would we go ahead?
Let me find it.
Start off with Carl so he feels good about himself tonight.
Okay, this question is for Cece. How is a mastermind different than a writing group, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I don't really think it is. It's if you're not, because in our group we do little writing mobs where we'll just put a thing up like a hangout saying, hey, I need someone to write with, and then a bunch of people come on and no one says anything to each other and we all just type. And then if someone's like, what's the difference between effect and effect? Like, we could just talk about it or whatever and then get right back to doing what we're doing and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's a lot of marketing ideas, people asking if their covers are good, just little things like that, you know, just helping each other out along the way.
I agree. My favorite is when in your group people say, I'm jumping on for an hour, and nobody talks. You just sit there and just go.
I don't know why it's so helpful, but I mean,
I don't know.
I kill word counts when we do that. It's so good.
It's
just to know that somebody else is working.
Yeah, and they're looking over your shoulder, right? It's kind of like a boss that's not a boss, right? It's just, yeah. Well, they're working. I better be working.
And it's hard when you don't have an office that, like, nobody's expecting you to do anything except yourself. And for me, I just sit in my house alone all day. And so if I see, like, Jason or Cece on, I'm like, oh, look, another person. A human is out there in the world working, and I can jump on.
When I was in high school, me and my friends used to get together and just sit with our notebooks out and just like listen to movie soundtracks and write. And then at the end of a couple hours, we would hand notebooks around and read what each other wrote and say, oh, this sucks, this is great, this is good, this is awful. And just do that over and over again. And that was really, really good for me, you know? So it's kind of the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I just recently joined that group, so I'm getting to know everybody and all that stuff. I had a little preconceived notions of Mastermind. I think I listened to on the SPP, they talked about their masterminding stuff and things that they're getting ready to do. And when my other line of work, masterminding was always kind of the idea of having somebody with more experience than you or a different experience than you, so you could learn from them, and so your learning curve would be quicker, right? And so you wouldn't necessarily, we do that a lot in the teaching field, where you mix a bunch of teachers from different backgrounds and, you know, different subject areas and then different years of teaching, so that you can kind of all collectively, you know, more brains smarter than one type of thing. So I think you guys kind of hit on the head, but I do love the idea of being able to share information instantaneously, which is really nice with the technology that we have now, right? Versus, you know, back in the old days, you know, 20 years ago, when you had to go meet at a library with some local,
like during NaNoWriMo or something.
Right.
Right then.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's just.
Yeah, another.
Go ahead, CC. I think we got a little delay.
Another thing that we do. Sorry, that's probably me. One of the things that I really like about it too is, like, if I'm about to do a promo campaign or something like that, we could go in the group and talk about which sites did what numbers for you without like having to like post that on Facebook or something where everyone can see it. Like, if you just want to like go, hey, is Choosy Bookworm better than Kindle Books and Tips, or is BK Nights worth doing on a paid book? You know, what were your numbers? And that's seriously been so helpful for me too on the group, just being able to see what works and what doesn't.
Nice. Kate Morgan had a question from the site already, and I'll kind of I'm going to split off of it too. Throughout the three of you, and Xavier too, and anybody else. So first part, how did you guys get into the groups? We kind of heard already from Jamie a little bit. He kind of got this put in, but how did you guys get into the groups, or how did you start those? And part B there, do you think capping a group is a good invitation only? That's what Kate was asking about, type of thing. Do you screen people, that sort of stuff? So anybody want to weigh in on that?
I think I got invited by a fellow author. I was doing a separate project with them, and they were already involved in the collective, and they just, because they knew I wrote science fiction and they'd read some of my stuff, so they were just like, you know, hey, we're doing this, do you want to be involved? And I was like, it sounds really cool. So and it's been, you know, even in a short time that we've been really active, you've learned quite a bit, just in other people's styles, and, you know, like CC said, we're starting to explore, you know, different avenues of promotion and stuff like that, which is like the hardest part. Honestly, the writing, everybody kind of gets the writing. You know, you just put in the effort and the time, and eventually you get there. But the promotion stuff for a lot of people is really hard. So, especially with indies and stuff, we tend to feel like we're doing it all on our own. Like, you know, even some of us do cover design too, and, you know, we have to kind of wear all the hats instead of, you know, just farming it out like a lot of Big Five published authors do. So to have that support group to kind of say, well, these websites are good, you know, they're sending out a lot of returns for the money you invest in it, or, you know, the time you invest in this site is, you know, seems to really be generating interest where this one's not doing so much. That's really helpful.
Good point. Good point.
With me, I'm a part of Simon Whistler's Writer's Circle group, and that's been really, really great. and they have hangouts and stuff all the time, but I'm the only one on the West Coast. And so I would always miss the hangouts. It would be like at 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So I just started a group on Facebook, and originally it was supposed to be for people on West Coast time, so I knew I could make the freaking hangouts. And when I started asking certain people to do it, they were like, hey, I'm not on the West Coast, but I could do that time. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's go. And then we get together once a week in a hangout like this, and just kind of, it's usually on Friday, and we say like what our goals are for next week, how many words we want to write, and then just like any thing if you want to bounce something off of something. So that's how that whole thing started. It was just like a necessity thing for me.
I feel your pain, brother. I'm on, West Coast time too, and all those East Coast people think, everything's around their time.
Isn't it?
Xavier, how'd you get started in the collective? How'd that all go down?
Well, I was there from day one, just like Jamie was, and I think we, like Jamie said, we can blame Drew Avery for organizing this thing.
Let's just blame him for everything.
Yeah, the basic idea as we started off was we wanted to do a collective group where we all not only kind of encourage our own individual writings by cross-promoting each other and giving support in, cover design, formatting, editing, if you need a beta reader, etc., all those little things. But we also wanted to take that a step further and do some sort of collaborative project that, on top of us keeping on track of our own solo work and making sure we're all doing our own solo work as well, we have this one project, which is what the collective is all about, and that's a science fiction project that is a cross promotional that goes from all of our different author platforms. So whenever a collective book comes out, we are promoting that book not only because it's going to be within a one large universe kind of a thing as far as the mythos of the series goes, but we're also going to be doing the covers for each other, doing the editing for each other. So we're getting multiple Amazon credits on these things. So whenever one of us puts out a book, it is like 4 to 6 of us put out a book.
What's an Amazon credit?
Well, you know how you get a credit for being the author of the book.
No, I didn't.
Well,
I just do stuff. I don't know what's going on.
Well, if you search for Michelle Reed, Invisibles, you'd be credited as author, and whoever edited the book would be, if you wrote that in, would be credited as editor. So whenever a new book comes out, that's a new credit for whatever that person has put out. So, like for instance, with my editor Jason Whitehead, when I put out Dinosaur Noir, I credited him as my editor, and therefore, if people search for Jason Whitehead, Dinosaur Noir comes up because he is credited as the editor.
Got it. And our new listener, James, is fired because he's trying to make me laugh. So yes, I didn't know that mattered, that you get like credits for that.
Well, it's just more cross promotion because for each time that a book comes out, you only have that 30-day time to be hitting the new release charts. If it seems like collectively these 16 authors are putting out a book a month, that you're always on those charts, and people start to notice what the heck is this thing that is recurring.
Got it.
That's a good idea.
And how we're doing it is we've actually put off doing the writing to concentrate on more building the brand first. And then once the brand is built, collective brand, we'll start putting out the stories. And like Xavier said, once the book comes out, it's one author, but 5 or 6 contributors to that piece of work, all under the brand The Collective.
So are you guys going to do a website and everything too?
Yep, we already have a URL and everything set up. So Mikey Campling is in charge of that. You know, like, and that's the great thing about this group is that we're all contributing in various different ways on top of just the writing and cross promoting of each author's work. Because on top of just whenever one of us has a sale, and we will pimp that out to social media and stuff like that. But we have this ongoing kind of collaborative universe that we're slowly building, and as the blog posts kind of come out, we're figuring out the main timeline and the main kind of core of what the collective is all about, and from there we'll be putting out constant releases from all of the 16 current authors that are taking place in it. 17? Holy crap.
17. It's growing.
It's like rabbits.
What was that, Chris?
I said it's like rabbits.
It's like rabbits, right.
I would actually like to keep it under 20 authors, because once it goes over that, it's like,
It's a village.
trying to keep everything straight would be just too much.
Yeah, I would think so. Cece, in your group, are you going to put a cap on that as well, or?
I think we only have 15 or 16 people in it now, and for the longest time we only had 12, and then just about a week ago put some more people in just to kind of liven it up a little bit, and it works.
And it did.
Yeah, it totally did. So
it was like the piranhas.
Yeah, it's nice. But I don't know, maybe. I was thinking about doing more little groups, but then that would just mean I wasn't writing. I was doing other little groups. So, not really sure.
Yeah, it becomes a management issue, doesn't it?
It totally does.
Yeah, that makes sense. What would you guys say would be your well, let's go twofold. What is your biggest gain from the groups that you've had so far for you personally? And then what, if any, do you guys have any specific direction? And I know that you're not necessarily in charge. It's not like Avery is in charge. Drew Avery's in charge of your guys' group. But what direction would you like to see it go? Maybe I like the collective is quite a bit different than CC, so maybe we can kind of look at that. But what has been your biggest gain personally since joining the group? Anybody can jump in. I don't.
On a personal level, it's
we got that delay working again. All right, so I'll direct.
Go
CC,
ahead.
go ahead,
Yeah.
and then we'll go Jamie.
Oh no, I was just gonna say on a personal level, probably more than anything, when you're a full-time writer, like your social life is shit, and like it's a very lonely world to be in. So having a group of people that you could just relate to all the time is probably the best thing for me. Just not going like crazy all the time. So that helps a lot. But as far as business-wise, I've just learned a ton of stuff from all the people in the group, and I'm constantly learning new stuff. And in fact, like last week, I was curious on how to make a wiki for one of my books, and we had this big long thread going of just all these people talking about how they tried this, they tried that, you should try this. And just a lot of people got involved in it, and I think a lot of people are now more turned on to wanting to do that. So it's just having that kind of community where you could constantly get new ideas is extremely helpful.
Good. Jamie, go ahead.
Well, I think the biggest thing I've learned is somehow I got put in charge of marketing. I think it's because I'm the loudest sometimes. But it's really made me look into how do you market not just yourself, but a group of people doing this. And I think it's being in this group, it's actually making me a better writer, because I read the blog posts that have been put up so far and some of the other writings that we're doing, and like I said earlier, it just makes me want to be a better writer than I am. So.
Good point. How about you, Chris?
For me, it's just kind of been, because I'm not a full-time writer yet. I still have a day job and single father and have a lot of kind of moving parts in my life. So just kind of having that continual reminder to, to not, sometimes it's easier to just kind of, take a couple days off and not touch the keyboard. And sometimes it's good to have people there to kind of keep you accountable. I mean, it's like a weight loss group, everybody sharing, everybody making comments and, updates on their project. And like, Jamie said, sometimes you get, a little competitive, even though you're not trying to, it's collectively competitive. It's not like you're trying to be better than anybody else. You're just trying to, feel like you're raising your level to be up with them. So that's the biggest thing for me. It's just been to keep it front and center in my mind and to give it the attention you have to.
Yeah, good stuff. Xavier, you want to weigh in on that? How long have you been on the collective?
Well, it's been about a month. Jamie, how long have we been at this now?
5 weeks, I think.
Yeah, I was just gonna say just a little over a month. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and like it's been. What was really interesting about the first couple days of us setting things up is that I think we started off with a certain number of people, and then that dwindled off because immediately there were certain people that as we figured out what we were approaching, some people said yay or nay, and then as we established what we were doing, we gained even more members. So it just it's gone up and down, and the more kind of focused our attack plan has become, the more interested people seem to be about it. And it's great that it's a resource for sci-fi people, because some of us who within the group are definitely more business oriented, whereas other of us seem more artistically driven, and that's their main focus. So we've had lots of great discussions where those two fields can mesh and how to approach that correctly. And our original intent was to do a box set, and eventually it's become this whole other thing that we think will actually work out better in the long run and be more effective in cross-promoting and building our individual audiences on top of whatever the collective ends up becoming itself.
Good. All right. Did we get everybody? Okay. Michelle, do you want to put any 2 cents worth on that?
No.
No.
And I'm trying to keep up with the comments in the chat and the comments on the site, because they're really good, both places.
Well, I'll throw this in here. This podcast has kind of done the same type of stuff for me. The motivation, the idea of sharing things. I just think the whole idea of being in the trenches with somebody else is great. And the biggest takeaway for me is that you don't have to feel like apologetic for being a writer. It's like, because for a long time for me it was always, well, what do you do? Well, I'm a teacher, and then, oh, by the way, I write. And this has got me to more of yeah, I'm a writer. Yeah, and and no, don't laugh. But yeah, anyway, so
Yeah.
That part of it.
Don't tell me not to laugh. It's just gonna make me laugh.
This podcast did that for me too, and I was like, oh, it is a real job. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a fake thing. It's not so that part's been really, really good. So All right, Michelle. So I gave you a chance to scan. Do you have any questions from the site, or do we should move on to next?
No, go to the next question. There's not any that we haven't, unless. Sorry, I'm choking on my smoothie. Unless we didn't answer Kate's question all the way about how do you get into it? Like, how do you
That's
find
right.
one?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I actually threw that in there. Okay, so you guys did talk a little bit about capping. Do you guys think that these things should be invite only, or how does one, if one wants to get involved, how does one get involved? CC go because you're on the delay.
Just start one. Just go start a Facebook group, find a couple authors that you're friends with, or even one, and then just say, who do you think would benefit from something like this? But have a goal. Like, if you want to just have a accountability group, let everybody know that that's what it is, and then just start it. If you want something where you guys are helping each other out, doing covers or editing, let that be known at the beginning, and just kind of go with it like that.
I agree. I have one account. Patrick Stemp is my accountability partner, and that's like, look, he's my actual friend too. But that's, we just email each other. How many did you write, or did you write? And so I like that. I like having one accountability partner, and then also the groups.
That's good. Xavier, do you have an accountability people?
No, not myself for my own writing. Other than with the collective stuff. Like the nice thing with what we're doing right now, like Jamie said, though we are kind of delaying our releases for the bulk of what we're putting to Amazon right now, we're setting up the brand, and on our website, each of the authors are contributing blog posts every week. So as much as each of us are kind of focusing on whatever kind of novella that we're putting out as a part of our first round of collection releases, you also have to stay up on track week by week to make sure that you have your blog post done. So each author each week has to get their blog post in. So there will be 16 other people saying, "Hey man, where's that blog post?"
So I got mine out of the way quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And I had like two days of like almost not having it finished. So just like as I kind of put it up to the group, I'm like, phew, it's done. I'm not gonna get attacked.
Put it up when he did. Believe me, he would have been getting some messages on Facebook.
Exactly.
A ruthless group. So actually, Chris, that leads me a question to you. Since you said you're balancing single parenthood and a day job, have you found taking on this group is put more on your plate? Is it actually relieved a little? What's your feelings on that?
I have a problem with, I mostly entertain myself. Like, I'll find things to do. I have a ton of hobbies, so it's good to, I kind of just take whatever hobby kind of speaks to me at that moment and go with it. So it's good to have something that's kind of there. The time, it doesn't take more time away from my day, but it it takes time away from things that I really probably shouldn't be doing anyways, like watching a lot of TV and stuff like that. So it's not really a detriment, but it's actually helping me keep priorities straight to keep everything. I need to start putting out more word count and stuff like that, and this is helping me, get into a habit of, writing every day and things like that. So I make it work.
Make it work. All right, Michelle or Xavier, question time.
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
We're back. Oh, is there one from the audience?
There was. It's going like this on the site.
All right, well, Xavier, go ahead with your question, and then maybe Michelle can find that one.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just put this to the three of you guys, and maybe CC can answer first, just so that way the delay is not freaking everybody out. Freaking out, man. So I guess we have very different groups going on. Like you guys have a very good support type group, and for beneficial learning between authors. And the one we have is more like a collaborative effort. What kind of things in the future do you want to see kind of open up for authors that are kind of doing this? Like, a lot of these things are on Facebook and stuff like that. What are ways that you'd like to see more authors interact?
Well, I mean, anything online's good. I like the kind of secret group kind of deal on Facebook, just to keep everything private from what you're trying to do. But as far as what I would like to see happen is, like, I've tried to put together collaborative efforts before. I know other authors have tried to put together projects for a bunch of authors to do together, and my only thing would be is that I really want people to not commit to doing something if they're not going to commit to do it. Like, that would be a nice thing to see change. So
but
like,
it won't.
but I mean, it's like, you know what I'm saying. It's like, as much fun as something sounds like it's going to be, if you're going to let other people know that you're going to do something, do that thing, or just keep your freaking mouth shut. That would be amazing. I would love to see that happen in the very near future.
Follow through.
Because it causes stress for the person who's trying to organize it. Oh, real life stress.
And if I wanted to be a babysitter, I wouldn't be spending my time freaking writing. Right?
Oh no, babysitting pays pretty good.
Does nowadays.
It does?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Oh, I should just go off and be a babysitter. Adventures in babysitting with me.
$15 per hour per kid.
It's like $250 a week for 4 days. I was just talking to a coworker today.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
ridiculous.
For
It's
one
called population control. No one, I only have one kid.
Yeah, that's one kid.
I wouldn't buy a kid for that much.
Yes.
Jason Dempster is here, by the way. So hi, Jason. We were just talking about him earlier.
Okay.
Chris, would you want to see authors connect more online?
I like the Google Hangouts and things like that, where you can kind of see, it kind of puts a personal face on things. Online, it's kind of easy to just, kind of flake out and disappear for periods of time. But if you're looking somebody in the eyes, online, it helps you to, that sounds really dramatic, but it helps to put a face to it and have somebody in real time be, you almost feel like you're more accountable to them if you can see them. So it helps to kind of push everybody along.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It is hard to, look someone in the eyes like, oh, I didn't get that thing done that we talked about and we've been working on for the past couple months. Yeah, sorry about that. But it is a lot more difficult rather than that kind of passive email or the instant messaging and stuff like that. It is much harder when you can see the whites of their eyes.
Right, and they look angry.
Yes. Yeah, and we have Wolf in our group. His name's Wolf, so we have a very angry, burly New Zealand guy who potentially could kill us all.
Do you guys remember when MySpace was the thing back in the day, and next to your profile it would say last active, and it would have like a date and time?
Mm-hmm.
So you could totally stalk the crap out of people who weren't like responding to your messages that way.
Yeah.
But they don't do that anymore. So
you can do it in Facebook Messenger. Like, if my brother and I used to joke around with it when we were dating women and stuff, you'd send them a message and then you could wait and see like how long it's been since they've seen the message, and then how long it's been since they responded to you after they've seen the message. Like, I know you saw that message, so you better get back to me.
That's why Michelle's. I gotta look at that. She's never answering my stuff. That's what it is.
I was on the site. What are you talking about?
Oh, nothing. Never mind. It's okay.
Okay. Hmm.
Jamie, did you have any thoughts on all that?
I think 3 days after we started the group, we had our first hangout, and I think that's where these kind of groups are going to advance more is through the video hangouts, because like Chris said, when you have someone looking at you and me yelling at you, because I am a jerk,
And he does yell.
and I do yell, it gets people more motivated to actually do what they said they were going to do. So I can type in all caps on Facebook and it means absolutely nothing, but when you're listening, it's a different story. So.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, like with our group, where suddenly we'll have days where suddenly my phone will just explode with messages.
Yeah.
And it'll just be so many posts that people have commented on that you almost have to spend a good 10 minutes of actually playing catch up of finding out what the heck happened that day.
Oh, is that what we're talking about? Yes, my phone does that too.
But Mikey Campling has kind of took the bull by the horns when it comes to our internet presence, our web page, and I think today there were 40 messages at least on the group from Mikey actually. Okay, I got this done. I got this done. I got this done, and it's like, okay, well, I wash dishes.
I took the dog for a walk.
Well, it was the same with when we got the beyond when Mikey set up the domain. When we initially just when we first just set up the WordPress site, it was immediate. Drew had just well, the WordPress site's up, and then immediately I'm just saying, okay, and here's the logo.
Yeah.
Wasn't that during one of our hangouts? He just did the whole thing while we were talking amongst ourselves.
Yeah, exactly, and that's
our last one, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love how that it all works out in that sense. So even that was the hangout that I had missed. We've had a couple of them, and even though I'd missed a hangout, I'm getting constant updates of what exactly had happened, and was able to create the logo for the brand just immediately based on what they had talked about in the comments. Hello?
Hello. Okay. I was waiting for somebody to say something there. So.
Okay, I was just worried that I just broke the internet.
Yeah, I thought I dropped out, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I've been saying hello to the internets for every week, and eventually the internet said hi back with deafening silence.
But one thing I'm noticing is, with any group, there's going to be not necessarily leadership, but there's usually 5 or 6 people that kind of, step up and make sure things get done. And it also kind of motivates everybody else, because if they want to have a voice in how things are done, they have to kind of contribute too. And it's not really, everybody telling, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's, everybody just kind of wanting to be heard and have some kind of, say in how the group is run or what we do. And in the end, it kind of does weed out the people that aren't really, feel very strongly about what we want to do. So it's kind of a, an ongoing thing where, the people that end up in the hangouts and the people that are active in the group, tend to step up, and then it will motivate other people to jump in too. So that's one thing I've noticed in, the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to what Cece said too about having a goal or an aim of the group, knowing what it is. I mean, it definitely sounds like the collective, more ambitious, working together. A collective, great title, right? So versus with Cece's group, more of a collegial, doing things together in the trenches, but everybody's kind of doing their own thing as well. So, but I'd also like, what Chris is saying, other people doing things motivates other people, and then pretty soon, and I suppose I would think as the group gets older and people kind of work out their roles, it probably starts even flowing even smoother, and those that want to stick with it will, and those that want to drop out will too. So, all right.
Yeah, I've dropped out of 2, I think, groups that they just didn't serve me well. They were not helpful in any way. So if you don't find one you like, just go to a different one.
Yeah, that's a good point. You don't just stick with it just to be sticking with it, right? I mean, time's too precious.
Yeah, one was mentally and physically exhausting, and the other one was just not what I thought it was going to be.
What's that saying? You're the average of the success of your 5 closest friends, or something like that. How's that go?
Yeah.
That was it?
Pretty much like that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's always good.
I always say you're the average of your top 5, like your top 5 friends.
Yeah.
Which is very true.
Gotta have friends. I don't know what anyway. But,
I know, right? What are friends? Well, my friends are on the internet.
Yeah, virtual friends.
Mm-hmm.
As my wife says, you talk to the fake people, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'd never actually see them.
Womp womp.
Wah wah. Boy, the comments have been fast and furious, but I'm trying to help you out there, Michelle. Look at you. I don't see any questions. Have we missed any questions?
I don't think so. Okay, they're just kind of talking about what we're saying.
Yeah, and some people are a little confused about what's going on.
I think everybody had someone poop in their Wheaties this week or something.
Yeah, no, we're talking about mastermind groups and collaboration groups and ways that authors can work together to sell more books and promote their own audiences,
and become better writers
with the drink.
in the process, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the internet's making that all possible. So, so I will encourage people that are watching, besides just making schneid comments. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Carl's in there talking about soggy biscuits, so we know it's all going downhill.
Going downhill now, but if you guys do have any questions for our 3 guests tonight, it'd be nice to.
And John just posted one, actually.
Mm-hmm.
He's just asking what type of user-friendly, reliable forum/platforms are being used for these mastermind groups. So I know in case of for the collective, we're doing mostly through Facebook, but we also have a domain and WordPress and Twitter and all that stuff. We're slowly building this brand to being social. Just because as much as this is going to be a private group between authors of us working together, the brand itself is going to be a public thing that, like a publishing firm, but it's going to be an independent production. It's not a business run by 16 people. It's more of a community project type of a thing. Cece, for your case, it's more of a Facebook group, correct?
Yeah, for the thing I have, it's just a Facebook group. But the Writer Circle one that Simon has is like a full-on website with forum and all that stuff.
Do you guys use that forum quite a bit, Cece?
Yeah.
I don't use it.
I've been involved in forums quite a bit, but not for writing. For my hobbies, like fishing forum, like going all the time, and it seems to work really well. And I always thought it would be really cool to do with writing. And I've seen a couple that have tried, but it doesn't. It seems like it kind of starts off with a bang, and then people quit posting, and then it kind of fades away. So I was really curious with that group of Simon. If you guys,
Writer Circle's pretty consistent.
They are, yes, and they have a resources section and all kinds of stuff in there. It is really helpful, and I've used them twice. I just don't use it regularly.
Yeah.
But you can go in and say, I have these 3 covers. I'm looking at which one will actually work, and they'll just tell you what they think. It's really It's really good. I should probably use it more often.
So is there a lot of members in that?
I don't want to be on record saying nothing, but like I think it's probably around 40 or 50. I could be completely freaking wrong on that. There might only be 5. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know exactly the number.
Okay.
He does have a screening process though.
Okay. Because I was just thinking with the forums, they don't seem to work really well if there's not a fairly large group either. At least that's been my experience. It was something that Cece did mention though that I also like that I use in my other career is the use of a wiki. And it was funny that you mentioned that because I always thought a wiki would be a really good thing too for a writers group or whatever, because not only could you share ideas, but it's really helpful to save stuff. Like, okay, I forgot how to do this. Well, here it's on the wiki. You could just dig that information up. So, because I mean, how often? It depends on how often I guess you're producing books and all that sort of stuff. But there's sometimes you do something. At least for me, like with my WordPress site, I do it once and it looks good, and then I want to change it. I forget, how did I do that again? So, yeah, it might be
for sure. But yeah, let me know about that. We'll tackle that.
Okay. See, masterminding right there, folks, live.
Also, something really helpful is to find a nerd friend and just pester them. That's what I do to Xavier.
That's Xavier. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was going.
I had to tell her about frame rates the other day.
So, and I think I said, I'm not listening. Please.
Yeah,
Like 4 times.
Yeah, you just keep on typing, I'm not listening. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, well, here's some information that you're never going to read again.
And I immediately forgot it.
Yeah. It's all good. That's what you have. These, yeah, like friends is good. Like, and it's good to have, people that you can call on. But it is good to have a forum as well that you could just people don't want to be just the one solo guy on the top of the mountain screaming his problems because only the mountain is listening. What you really want is to be able to stand up in front of town hall and yell at everyone. So
somehow, Xavier, I don't see you yelling. I think you would just pleasantly go, "Excuse me."
No, I'd probably just come out with a very loud guitar and play one chord and be like, "Okay."
Bring the beer bottle right at the right time. You're like, take out one guy.
Yeah, exactly. Just that one guy.
Just the one guy.
I didn't like him.
So I'm trying to think of I forgot what I was going to ask next. I should have wrote it down. I didn't. Xavier, you got any questions for Michelle?
Jason Gumster says, if you're doing a resource wiki, doing a wiki is a good way to go. But it's heavy-handed, he says.
What do you mean? What does he mean by heavy-handed? You have to clarify that.
I don't know. Ask the nerd, Xavier.
It made a lot of work. I mean, setting up a wiki takes some time, but once it's up and going, I don't think it's actually that bad. It's pretty easy to update, and everybody can access it. And so I don't know, but heavy-handed.
You mean it's just clunky to navigate, or?
It might be, yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, that is true, and depending on, like, with a wiki, it is almost like setting up a website in itself, where, like, it's already set up ready to go for you, but, in order to create easeability of clickability and readability and all these things, you do have to know your stuff as far as organizing the page correctly in order to execute what you're trying to do. So would I say that, doing a wiki page is for everyone? No, but that's what that one person in your writer / mastermind / collab group might be able to help you out with.
Yeah, someone like me wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't have the patience for that.
Well, and that's like in the case with our collective group, some of our writers have past business experience. So originally we had talked about establishing either a small business or a corporation because we were dealing with 16, 17 authors from different countries and all these different royalty exchanges, things that we had to really think about. So as much as you can go on keyboards, and there's great lots of awesome resources out there for people. It is nice to just be able to have those immediate answers back from people who have had that experience already and know a thing or two in the fields that they had already been working within before they attempted to go into the author business. And yep.
Yeah, you did it twice now, Xavier. You've stunned him.
Should I just keep talking forever? I would hope not. Like, you'll just find me like weeks later. It's like, and we're so collaboration.
We just record Xavier's voice, like talking, reading War and Peace or something, and just play it for anybody with young children. Put them right to sleep.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep going. Yes.
He'll be in that. What was it last week? The bathroom with handcuffs with Lucifer from last week.
Yeah, I feel like I missed something now.
Yeah,
you should go back
Lucifer in the
last
bathroom.
week's episode.
Yeah. I think is that our first like callback?
That might be. I don't know.
Great. All right, everyone, go back and listen to last week's episode where we talk all about Lock Lucifer in the bathroom, which is what the Reeds play every day.
With his pants off.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you know that the Reeds were dirty people?
No, listen here. My mother watches this show. She
Who
doesn't
does?
really, but she did. She'd be very embarrassed.
She might watch this. You never know.
But my husband does for real. You're gonna get me in trouble.
Yeah, and he'll chime right in. That's what I like John Reed a lot.
Yeah, he will.
Like sleeping attire and all that stuff. So anyway,
That was the best.
yeah. Well, we digress. Is there any questions from the site? Please
No.
ask now, forever hold your peace.
There really are some good conversations in here. There's no questions that I can see, but there's a lot of them talking about resources and all kinds of stuff. So if you're listening, go to the website.
Go to the website. Lots of good links, and and I did notice, was it Kate Morgan? I think it was Kate Morgan, or somebody mentioned we should do a spurt mastermind.
Oh yeah, I'm totally gonna Facebook bomb her later and be like, "Be in my group."
That would, boy, that acronym could be really good. But anyway, so all right, let's do this. Let's do kind of some parting shots off the cuff here. So, but I want to work my way left to right, and anything that the panel wants to add. And I mean anything. You know, this is Spurt. You can say anything you want. So, CC, we'll start off with you. Any words, final words of wisdom?
Write more and then write a little bit more when that's done.
But what about when you don't want to write?
Do it anyway.
Then outline something and write about why you don't want to write.
But what about when you think writing is stupid?
Then you need to get into porn.
What if you already did that? Oh, Willie.
Well, then you lock Lucifer in the bathroom.
Okay. I'm sorry I asked.
Chris, hard act to follow, but you're up.
Well, the best piece of writing advice that I ever got was from an author by the name of Chuck Wendig. You guys probably all already know him. And it was 3 words: finish your shit. So if you're writing, start something and you just finish it. Don't give it up. You just keep those 3 words, like print them out, put them on your wall somewhere. So if I feel like I don't want to write, which happens quite a bit, I think people that don't write would be surprised how often that happens to us, where you just feel like, nah, I don't want to frig with that today. So, but yeah, you just look at that and you're like, all right, you're right, I got to finish my shit. So, you start something, you finish it, and a lot of times that's the hardest thing to do, is to just keep plugging away at it, day after day, and and then you finally will eventually get to the point where you're like, wow, this really doesn't suck. So, and then that's usually the bad right before the bad part where you're like, I'm a complete failure. But you know, you have the whole roller coaster of emotions and everything, where you go from thinking it's really good to thinking it's the worst thing you've ever read, to wondering why it's not written in crayon, to you know. But yeah, as long as you keep working on it, you eventually get there.
It's almost like the 7 stages of grieving, right?
Yeah. Feel like
You have to go through every step.
Right. It's like, you know, it's not a mastermind group; it's an AA group.
That's perfect. I am Xavier, and I'm an author. Hi, Xavier. Yeah, I've been an author for about 2 years. Oh, dude, that's rough, dude.
Jamie, you got any wisdom you want to part with?
I agree with what Chris said. Just keep writing. It doesn't matter what you write. Just keep writing. A lot of times, and Chris just said it, we get to the point it's like, I just don't want to do this. But you make yourself do it because it's what you are. If you're a writer, it's what you are. You can't change it, so just write and keep writing.
Nice. It's what you are. I like that.
Yeah, because everybody kind of will give it up. You know, I go through periods of time where I'm just like walk away from it, but you always come back. So that's how you know, you can't really give it up.
Yeah, it keeps being there.
It's like a bad relationship.
It is a dysfunctional relationship.
It is.
Definitely. I guess I would, for one thing, just to say with this as I start into these groups, is there's lots of support out there. You wouldn't think so at first. When I first started this, I always thought this is like a lone thing, which I didn't mind because I kind of like doing that. I like just leave me alone, let me do my thing. But when you run into problems or can't get things done, I mean, I got a bunch of shit, probably part of it from Michelle, started it about my writing habits on the site, so, already, but I do appreciate it because it's a great motivator, and becoming part of CC's group, I can tell already is going to be along with that same line, so. And what you guys got there at the collective sounds really way cool, a little different step to the right, if you will, but awesome stuff. Can't wait to see all that stuff come out, so.
Well, and that's just it. Like, people need to go out there, and if you can't find a group, like Cece had said, start one. Just make a private Facebook group, grab 1 or 2 people. They'll know 1 or 2 people, and if they don't, they'll find you eventually. These things start from slow beginnings, humble beginnings, and they may just take off in the end if everyone's putting in the right amount of work to it. So just, and it does not hurt in any ways just to inquire with another author, whether it be collaborating, whether it be masterminding, do connect, do put that first foot forward.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if anyone out there wants to drop me a line and just like vent or ask a question or something, please feel free to hit me up. Like, I'm around.
Cool, that's really
nice. And when
nice.
they say that, like Nick Smith had said that, and other people have said that, they really do mean it. Even if you don't know them, you can just say, hey, I heard about you on such and such. I have 20 questions. Can you answer them all right now? And they will. Every time.
I spent a half hour last night talking to someone about that back and forth on Facebook. He was asking me questions about he wants to start writing. So, and that's the cool thing about being indie authors is we are there to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with CC. Got questions, ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reels.
And people will answer. Yeah, I think more people are afraid to ask than when.
Yeah.
Then if you get over that, there's lots of information out there for sure.
And people who don't know the answers to things, like me, I don't know the answers to a bunch of stuff, but I know who to ask. And so I'll go
Xavier.
ask Mimi or Carl or Xavier or CC. Or Robert is a great resource. So I'm like, no, I have no idea. I'll be right back with your answer.
Hold, please, while I find. All right. Well, we are up on the hour, so that was really cool, guys. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise. And we'd love to have any or all of you back on again at some other time, because talking writing is good stuff. So. Yeah. All right. Thanks for everybody watching live too. Lots of comments tonight. Lots of people in the chat, and like as Michelle said, some good resources. If you're listening on iTunes or Stitcher, make sure you pop over to our site once in a while, self-publishingroundtable.com. Really catchy, right? And check all that stuff out. So we will be back next week, of course. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, Matt. I think Matt Moore. Is Matt going to be on next week? Is that right? I think he is.
Yes, sorry, I was trying to unmute my microphone. Matt and Nancy are both going to be on.
Nice. Excellent. Okay, so, and we won't just talk about our own podcast, we promise. So
Yes,
check us out next week, and leave us a review, please. We need more reviews, and take some time to share us around the internets. We would appreciate it. So we'll see you all back here next week. Xavier, do you got something to say?
Yes. Good night, internets.